Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for watching. So today I wanted to take a break from Magic the Gathering content and focus on something different. I wanted to actually showcase a little bit of a Pokemon collection here. So this is actually a collection that I picked up at an amazing price. It was an awesome eBay seller. It came packaged in this Ultra Pro binder. Everything is actually sleeved in Dragon Shields, as you are about to see. So I wanted to go ahead and just get into this. I want to work back from front. So what we're looking at today is a complete unlimited base set for the Pokemon trading card game. So let's go ahead and unwrap our binder here. And we'll go ahead and start from the back. So first, not involved in the base set technically, what we have here, and it's the only card not sleeved in a Dragon Shield, we actually have this absolutely gorgeous Mew trainer card. This is just so nostalgic and it really takes you back. Let's get a look at the beautiful back on this card here. There is a small crimp there, but that's actually in the penny sleeve. It's not on the card itself. Every card in this collection is practically near mint. Just look how gorgeous that is. Yeah, that's truly amazing. All right, let's turn it back over and get a look at that amazing art on the front. It's so shiny. You can see the reflection of the camera there. That really is a truly beautiful card to include with the collection. It was certainly a nice little bonus. Okay, so let's go ahead and slot this to the side loader here as gently as possible. All right, so of course this is a complete base set, so we are going to have some cards that you may not traditionally think of as, very valuable. Like we just have your standard energies here. Now I don't play the Pokemon TCG, but I certainly collected these cards as a kid, and they are just oh so gorgeous. So as you can see, all of the cards in the base set from the seller actually came sleeved in these purple Dragon Shields here. And everything is just in such immaculate condition. Picked this up at such an amazing price, and the eBay seller was just so great. It arrived pretty much instantly. It shipped out instantly. Certainly no complaints. And everything is in order and complete. So here we have one of my favorites, just because it's classic, the Professor Oak trainer card and the Pokemon flute. The Pokeflute is so iconic. Of course, we have the Pokédex. All right, let's move on to the next here. Our standard trainer cards. Let's get this centered back in just a little bit. We'll keep on moving through here. We have the item finder. Of course, so nostalgic from the original video games. The Clefairy doll. So of course this is essentially referring to the Pokédoll. I remember in the original games, over what, 25 years ago now, you could actually skip the ghost in the Lavender Town tower by using a Pokédoll to escape. And so the Clefairy doll is reminds me a lot of that specific situation. Okay, so getting into technically the last Pokemon featured in the base set here. Number 69, of course, for good measure, Weedle. So gorgeous. All right, and we'll start getting into some of the actual Pokemon here in terms of artwork. Just look how stunning these are. I think that oftentimes a lot of people like collecting vintage Pokemon. They always focus on first edition, of course, which for good reason. First edition certainly is a bit more valuable. However, there is simply so much history here with the unlimited cards. If you think about it, first edition was essentially sold out before the actual player base could obtain it. That's why it's so rare, but essentially children played with these cards. So while the first edition may have a little more collectability, these cards, unlimited, these have the real history, right? These were opened by the children. These were played with by the children in the playground. Everything was wrapped up in rubber bands or in plastic Ziploc baggies or something like that when you took your cards to school to play some extraordinarily messed up version of the game, I'm sure. But to have these unlimited cards in such good shape, it's just something to me that's incredibly cool. Things of historical value tend to lean towards items that were actually used. So if you think of something such as historic pottery or utensils or something along those lines, antique vase, things like that, only the pieces that wealthy people owned, which were not extraordinarily common, survived because they weren't actually used. The pieces that were actually used, real pottery or real items that people of the historical period would have utilized, have long since been destroyed, right? Because they were used so much, they broke, and things of that nature. But for this, it's like a rare glimpse into the actual used items. Like, most people weren't playing with first edition cards. So these are actually real cards that were used, but they've of course been taken such good care of. That's why this collection is so stunning. Yeah, they're just so beautiful. Look at the art at that Doduo. Of course, the Charmander with the fire spin or the fire tornado behind the art there. Let's get a closer look at that Charmander. Just take a moment to really appreciate that. Again, all of these are in such wonderful shape. They're essentially in pristine condition and everything is in order. All right, there's our other starter in the Bulbasaur. Of our Wartortle there. These original arts actually have some really interesting depth to them. You can see here on the Raticate, the shadow, of course, around the bottom of the Raticate. And it's funny at the same time, because some people would argue that these are lesser quality, and it really makes you wonder why they chose certain artwork. So it looks like the Raticate, although the Raticate itself is beautifully drawn, it's sort of just pasted onto this background here. Looks like it's in some tall grass or something like that. Whereas comparatively, and this is one of my favorite arts from the base set, comparatively you have this Abra here. It's so beautiful. You have the sky there. It looks like it's maybe around dusk or dawn or something to that extent. You can see the stars in the background with maybe some clouds or some fog. You have the lone tree in the back, as the Abra, of course, is sleeping against the tree here in the foreground. Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. Really makes you wonder, though, why they chose certain cards to add more depth to. Like, for example, this seal here is simply just, it's like it's kind of pasted just onto a waterway. This Wartortle is kind of just pasted onto a beach. But then you have this Abra in this beautiful, almost like a plains or a Serengeti type environment. And you have this Nidorino in the canyon. A really fantastic artwork there. All right, let's go ahead and continue. You know, Magmar was always one of my favorite Pokemon from the original series whenever I was a kid. Blaine was one of my favorite trainers, and Magmar was just something that of course, it was specific to only one copy of the game. I was very fortunate in that my mother had purchased red for myself or blue for my brother, or vice versa. It didn't really matter. We swapped back and forth all the time. But we were able to, of course, with our link cables, complete our Pokédexes. And I remember Magmar was just one of my more treasured Pokemon. It was always in my team whenever I could get it. Absolutely gorgeous card. Again, it's kind of just pasted onto like a fiery background there inside a volcano or something. Then we have Kadabra, which is, you know, psychic types were just absurdly powerful in Gen 1, just one of the absolute all-stars in the video game. But the psychic types were also among my favorite as well. We have a beautiful Haunter here too. All right, we'll continue. Have our Dratini, our Dugong, Pidgeotto, Charmeleon. It's actually really interesting art on this Charmeleon here, as he's looks like you can see the scratch animation there, or a slash animation perhaps. I believe Charmeleon learns slash at some point. Just an amazing collection here. Everything is just in absurdly good shape, taken care of, sleeved in dragon shields. All right, so now we're starting to get into the meat and potatoes of the collection here. Let's take a look at just a few things on this page. Of course, the Poliwrath is a gorgeous card too. Let's take a look at this Zapdos though. Take a moment to appreciate the beautiful foiling on this card. And you know, I want to take a moment to appreciate the Raichu as well. Of course, Raichu was one of my favorite Pokemon from Gen 1 as well. You know, I think one of the reasons why I appreciated Raichu so much was one, you couldn't necessarily get it. So my first Pokemon game was actually, that I really played all the way through, I should say, was actually Yellow. Of course, you got a Pikachu early, and you couldn't evolve it, of course, so you were essentially just stuck with the Pikachu, and it made Raichu feel like some type of foreign Pokemon that was just much more rare and difficult to get in the games. Absolutely beautiful Venusaur here, of course. So are the big three, of course, are going to be the Charizard, the Venusaur, the Blastoise. That's a wonderful start here. All right, so we actually have a few things to discuss on this page. First of all, I just want to take a look at this Ninetales. Take these out as gently as I possibly can. So Ninetales is just an absurdly gorgeous card. It might be one of the more, in my opinion, attractive foilings that's available in the base set. It's just kind of majestic as well. You have the purity of the white Ninetales there. Absolutely gorgeous. Of course, we have the fan favorite, Mewtwo. You know, nothing really compared to exploring the cave in the first game after you've completed the Elite Four and you're actually able to go and challenge and capture Mewtwo within the cave. Incredibly nostalgic, a beautiful card. It's always very strange to me that technically Mew was not available in Gen 1. without a Game Shark, or there was actually some events that you could go to and take your Game Boy and the staff would be able to upload a Mew for you. But technically Mew is a Gen 2 Pokemon, which is absolutely wonderful. So here I also wanted to showcase the Machamp, and you may be, depending on your knowledge of base set, you may be wondering why this Machamp has a first edition stamp on the side. Actually, any Machamp is going to have that first edition stamp, and that's largely due to this card appearing in the starter decks. So this was how you got the card, was from the starter deck, and whether it was a misprint or something to that extent, they all had the first edition stamp on them. Yeah, an absolutely gorgeous card there too. Again, you know, in terms of value, so some of these clearly do have, you know, some decent value to them, but for the most part, this is mostly just due to, again, the nostalgia, the history of these cards here, imagining, you know, someone opening these and taking such good care of them, whether it was a child or maybe an adult, who knows. All right, and the final page, what everybody wants to see. So we have our Charizard, our Blastoise, and our Alakazam. So of course, Charizard is considered the money card. We'll be very careful to remove it here. They're very protected inside these dragon shields. We have good binder behavior here, of course, but an absolutely gorgeous card. On inspection, maybe just a couple scratches in the foiling there, but it's nothing crazy, but things you would expect for a card that's, you know, pushing, you know, well over 20 years old at this point. Absolutely gorgeous Charizard, though. All right, let's take a look at the Blastoise. Fortunately, I have the side of the Dragon Shield keeping it protected there. Absolutely phenomenal card. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, beautiful Alakazam. So that will do it on the unlimited base set collection here. Finished off with a beautiful Charizard and Blastoise. You know, the Charizard is really just the chase card from this set. It's what everybody appreciates. This is the Black Lotus of Pokemon, essentially. Of course, it's not a first edition Shadowless, but honestly, I think the Shadow was a wonderful addition to these base set cards. I think they really do add depth to the frame, and I think it was an absolutely gorgeous addition in my opinion. And I really am appreciative of whoever opened this collection and took such good care of it, to the point where it really is a showpiece. It has so much intrinsic historical value, even though this is not a first edition Shadowless base set collection. Still extraordinarily valuable nonetheless, being just a truly one of a kind. You're not going to find something that is quite as in good condition with these types of cards. Well, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and a bit of nostalgia in seeing this type of collection. So I do have other types I would like to show. I actually have a Japanese base set, Unlimited, on the way that I will showcase for you all at some point. And also I have a very large Magic the Gathering collection. I wanted to go through some of the amazing cards that I have available there as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I certainly hope you have a wonderful day.